Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast, where we dive into the wild world of wrestling, the only sport where threatening a child can make you the most beloved face in the business. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of wrestling storylines, analyze jaw-dropping matches, and speculate wildly on who's going to turn heel next. Get ready for a ringside seat to the excitement and absurdity of wrestling with us every week.
Right. Hi guys, welcome to a Host Light episode 3 of the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast. We're 2 down this week with no Dav and no Wrestling Mark. But I'm your main host, Mike. I'm going to let my colleagues introduce themselves now.
I'm Blake. I was here in the first episode, but I missed last week due to watching Call of Duty.
I'm Dan. You can follow me on Twitter at DanwellKC. That's DANUELKC. My second week. Really enjoyed last week as well, and really enjoying being a part of it.
I'm Andy. You can follow me if you want. You don't have to. I'm the one who believes that Buddy Matthews is the most committed wrestler on the roster right now. Signed a new contract, and his wife is over with the Weinsteins, and he still comes to work. What a man!
I'm Brett, aka That Bald Bro. You can follow me on TikTok, Bald Bro, on Twitter, That Bald Bro. And after a long day of work, you know what I could really go for right now? I could really use a big old hug from Tony Khan. I think that would be good for my soul, and it would be good for just my overall aura, to end the week.
That's it. A good hug from Tony. It's good for the soul.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say then, Brett? That after a long day of work, what you could really do with was a can of Woo Energy.
Still never seen that. Never
doesn't
seen
exist. It's like money.
No, I mean, all the 7-Elevens, all the stores here in the States I've been to, I've never seen one can, not one advertisement on a bus stop, in the train, nothing, nowhere.
When we reach, what are we on? How many numbers? What are we on the subscribers account there, the Twitter? It's like 200 now.
We're up to 300 now.
If we get to 350, I'm gonna try and import some Woo Energy and drink it live and see if I fucking die.
It's definitely tastes like shit.
Now you just gave me an idea for a TikTok vid. I'm gonna go on Amazon right after this, see if I could order like a case.
Our first giveaway right there.
There we go.
We'll actually give away a case of Woo Energy.
The first giveaway that nobody wants to win.
We're going to be competing to not receive it.
You do realise Logan Paul has had a lot of court issues over his drink. If we give someone a can of Woo Energy, we might be fucked. It might shut us down.
Wait, is it even allowed in the UK?
Probably not, actually. It's probably banned. Some fucking bizarre mushroom shit in it, isn't it?
That's because I don't think they sell it over here.
That's it. I'm going to Google it actually live now on the podcast.
Drink some Woo Energy in a Japanese graveyard.
That was actually a forest.
Forest, same. Well,
same
difference.
The suicide forest.
My God.
I know. Take a camera in there. That should be a good idea.
I'm surprised Ric Flair's not actually done it himself, to be honest. Yeah, walking around in one of them horrible suits,
just
filming himself.
Scribble Woo Energy on a tree.
I'll be honest, I don't think he knows where he is half the time.
that pay-per-view with what was it, Revolution, when he turned up on that and he starts asking people where am I sitting, like, and it was like, what is he doing here? He doesn't even know where he is. And then when the Bucks actually super kicked him, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, same. I thought he'd actually just fucking died on the spot.
Well, we haven't seen.
He also
him
goes
since,
extremely fucking red when he moves. It's like he's going to explode, like a bomb.
That's it. The battery that is Ric Flair is slowly dying.
As someone who was a huge fan, and he is the GOAT, it's fucking sad to see. It really is. Like, anyway, I ranted about that last week. We'll fucking move on. I'm going to change my name to La Park Andy. There we go. La Park is the man.
For people that don't know, Andy actually records these podcasts wearing a La Parka mask.
Yep. If I sound a bit muffled, it's got to go La Parka mask on, just in case the camera secretly comes on. It might come on one day when people are listening. I might pop up a picture, but we'll see.
Sounds. So this week, boys, I thought we'd discuss. Well, Brett, you brought up that you wanted to discuss the ramifications of the rumoured new AEW deal. So thought we should go into that for a little bit.
Yes, so like I said, I wanted to talk about the impending AEW media rights deal. That, from what we've heard of recent reports, that it's more than likely imminent. You know, it's agreed in principle. You know, they're still hammering out some of the final details. But what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna talk about any of the specific numbers, the years of money they're getting. I want to talk more about how the media rights deal is not just a win for AEW, it's a win for the wrestling business as a whole, because, like I said, depending on what the term of the contract is, whether it's 4, 5, or 6 years, whatever, what the deal is going to do, it guarantees that you have the number 2 wrestling promotion, not here just in the country, but probably in the world right now, that you have another top wrestling promotion that can offer for top tier money to a bunch of top tier talent across the country, almost either on par or near WWE's level. You have another viable option, another mainstream option to go alongside with WWE that can offer anywhere from 5 to 7 hours of content during the week, depending if there's a pay-per-view or not. And also the biggest thing with AEW being alive and well and not dead, what like a lot of just miserable fucks on Twitter, you know, like your Jobber Nations, your Gareths, your Sitting in Gorilla, all those miserable fuckwits that just live behind an avatar and don't have a genuine good take to save their lives, is that, you know, what have we heard the past 5 years? That AEW is on the death's doorstep, that it's going to die anytime soon, that TNT TBS is going to drop in them. And then as soon as we get that news from Tony Khan that the contract is signed, their immediate success. They're guaranteed their success. They're successful going forward. And if for a lot of these miserable people who live behind avatars, not on this app but on other social media apps, they honestly don't want AEW to go away or die, because if it went away, they would have nothing general of interest to talk about on Twitter. As miserable as they are, the people who follow them and retweet all their bullshit, they're even more miserable and sad. But you look at it from another perspective. You know who doesn't really want AEW to go out of business? It would be WWE and all their wrestlers, for the simple fact that you look at guys who have come up this past few months, like contracts have almost come to expire in WWE, like Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch, Chad Gable, and a few others. Like, if there was no AEW or secondary promotion existing, they would have no, as far as like terms and leverage and negotiating a new contract, they would have little to no leverage whatsoever, because there would be no other game in town. So with the existence of AEW, whether they intend to stay or not, they can use that secondary promotion as leverage to get more money, more years on their contract, and that helps not just their promotion out, but it helps out their pockets as well. So today, and for any future signing or re-signees of WWE, they're gonna make more lucrative money and better deals going forward, because you have that rival in AEW in existence. Like, if there was no competition, they would just make the bare minimum. They would have no choice but to take it or leave it, in a sense. And, you know, just one last bit, like, you go back 5 years ago, WWE in 2019, I think the majority of people listen to us will agree that WWE in 2019 was just absolute dog shit. It was horrible. I mean, from after Mania, Kofi Kingston's title run, horrible. Seth Rollins' Universal title run, horrible. It was flat. WWE was flat. It was stale. It was just going through the motions. But the rise of AEW has forced WWE to change their booking style, just how they format their shows, for a complete 180. And I've said this multiple times before. If there was no AEW around or going forward, I say to this day, you would have never gotten Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. You would have never gotten the Bloodline. You would have never gotten any of the edgier content that you like in today's WWE, that's all thanks to AEW. I mean, the wrestling business in general has always been reactionary over time. WCW 96 came out with the NWO. A year later, WWE comes out with DX. I mean, you look throughout the history of professional wrestling, everything is reactive. So for all the AEW haters who wish it would go away, and you should be grateful that AEW is around because it pushed WWE to be the white hot product that it is today. And that's all I got to say on it.
It's only white hot because a lot of people that don't have many brain cells like to watch it.
I mean, there's that. I mean, listen, I gave you the how do you say, the most professional advice, but trust me, you're right on that as well.
I do think that I kind of ties into what you said there, but my theory, and I'm not wearing a gimmicked chair tinfoil hat at the moment, is that the reason WWE wanna fuck AEW over, and we know they do, because I mean, you see a lot of the they're paying for the fast nationals so they can put out the fake numbers, that kind of stuff, spreading these stories like Scott Steiner today, is because they want total control. I think the only reason is because they want total control over the industry, and
They want a monopoly.
AEW even existing means they have to pay. The likes of Drew McIntyre, who's absolutely on fire right now, they have to pay him what he's worth, instead of just lowballing him and saying, "Look, take it or leave it. There's no what you're going to do. Go to TNA." They have to pay these guys what they want. They're going to have to pay Becky Lynch when she signs, and we'll come on to that later. But she clearly is going to sign. They were going to have to pay Mercedes if she was going back. They didn't think she was worth it. Didn't want to break didn't want to pay the same. It was the same as what Charlotte's on, I think it was, they were talking about. So AEW did, and WWE hate that. They hate the fact that they are not in control of this. That they can't just say, "We want Will Ospreay, we'll take you." That they have to actually pay these guys big money.
People have to they have to offer what people are worth, as you said.
I agree. It's and tying into what everyone else has really said is that AEW being around means that WWE have to work harder. If they weren't around, and when the number 2 promotion was for a while TNA, if you like, or even arguably New Japan, you could argue that New Japan at one point was the best or biggest thing because Ring of Honor was kind of floundering before Tony Khan came in and bought it, and they weren't going to survive even during COVID. I don't know how TNA managed it, but here we are. But the fact that AEW is around means WWE has to work harder, and they hate that. They are notoriously, like their matches, they are notoriously not up to snuff when it comes to work rate.
Can you think of anyone who they've wanted, who before AEW they weren't able to get? Is there anyone like him? Because
Nakamura, I think if Nakamura had stayed in Japan, that's maybe AJ as well, and there was no other option. Like, because in 2016, the AEW wasn't around. So when they signed, I think had AEW been around, I think it would have been a more natural fit. Looking at the product now, at least, I think they would have been a very, very seamless fit.
Oh no, sorry. I mean, can you think of anyone who in the past who WWE wanted and didn't get? Where in comparison to now with AEW existing, where there's guys that come up that they clearly want and they can't get. Sting's a good one actually. Yeah, he held out for a fair while.
Kota Ibushi.
And Zack Sabre Jr. as well. Because if you recall in the Cruiserweight Classic, they
tried getting Kota.
They initially built the tournament around the idea of Zack and Kota signing because it was going to be the planned final.
Oh, okay.
Then they basically said, no, we want to kind of keep going with New Japan. So they changed the final to be TJP and Lee who ended up signing.
Mm-hmm. That's spot on. It was literally meant to be Zack versus Kota. Zack said no, he wanted to stay with New Japan. Kota said no, I want to do my Nomad thing.
It was a genuine question because I didn't watch then, so I have no idea whether there was any kind of big stars like there is now, like your Ospreys or Mercedes or Okada, where they've said, well, we want you, but oh shit, what do you mean no? That kind of stuff.
Well, there is the Elite as well. That's another example.
Yeah.
WWE tried to sign Kenny and the Bucks on numerous occasions, and Kenny especially had no interest in going back to WWE after his terrible time in developmental. Would build them up.
But
I just want to sort of tie into one really quick thing because it ties in. I was having a really deep chat with a friend of mine who follows the channel. Shout out Feral Toast on Twitter, by the way, Bummerslam. We were talking about Black and Gold NXT, which sort of came into its zenith around time 2015, 2016, to maybe the beginning, tail end of 2018. Yeah, the product was good. Like, I'm not going to deny that NXT at that time was actually quite decent. You look at the stars that they were able to get, for that brand, people who had already made a name for themselves in Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor had at the time themselves to blame for their lack of sort of being able to keep pace with NXT and how fast it was growing. People like Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era, Roddy, Keith Lee, I can think of others.
Jericho.
You name people who made a name for themselves on the indies. He was this sort of. It was almost like this. It was bigger than TNA was. But then along comes AEW, and lo and behold, these guys are more suited to a style and a niche that they've bring for themselves. I think that pisses them off. They've not been able to keep hold of these guys, and have had to rely on. Well, the NXT brand now is just basically, all gymnasts. They're all like cheerleaders. Cedric Alexander as well, who's actually quite decent. I will give him that. But everyone else is just indistinguishable from each other.
Well, I have to stop you there. Ethan Page, did you see that shoulder barge he did off the apron?
Holy fuck, Ethan Page.
Exactly.
That was insane.
unreal.
Man's a wild man.
Dude just needs to stop wrestling such a reckless style.
So,
He's not going to live to be 40.
Someone's going to die in the ring doing that kind of shit, I'm telling you. Speaking of, you mentioned your man Bummerslam there. He actually had a question on the Twitter account. Should we actually answer that question, because it ties into with what we're actually talking about now? His question was, who should leave WWE but not go to AEW, instead go into TNA, New Japan, CMLL, etc.? What do you reckon, Mike? Should we go with that?
Yeah, let's jump into that. I'd love to start if that's okay, boys.
Mike,
I think I might
kick us off.
I think I might have a controversial one here. And I'd love to see what you think. But I'd love Sheamus to go to New Japan. And just New Japan.
That's a good one.
Not crossover with AEW. Just literally New Japan. I think if we don't get a Sheamus run in the G1 Climax at some point, it's a genuine crime. Like, just give me. I know this is random and whatnot, but I really want to see Sheamus versus Ishii.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sheamus versus Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheamus, Henare, Sheamus. It's evil. Nobody wants that.
Sheamus gave
Nobody wants Evil to wrestle at all.
That's it.
Fuck gay though, by the way.
Saying that,
Always get that in there.
I'd love to see Sheamus Takeshita.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sheamus Okada. That'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah, actually, no, I don't agree, Mike. We need Sheamus to do some New Japan, but then come to AEW so we can get Okada and Takeshita.
Yeah. I'd be fucking mint.
I said it'd be controversial. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's a good one. It's a very out there one.
It is a very good one. I can't believe you said
I think Finn Balor should go back to New Japan and resurrect the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
It needs
because I think it's shit now.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking terrible now. That's a good one.
I think it's shit, and you'd have such a good storyline. Even if you did do a crossover, because you'd have Kenny, you'd have Finn, you'd have Jay, and you'd have Finlay. Who gives a fuck about Finlay? Like, but you'd have like 4 former leaders and current leaders of the Bullet Club, and you could do such a sick storyline. And then if you also, if AJ actually got freed as well, and the Good Brothers, and they actually gave a fuck, you could have such a fucking inner warfare faction.
They're not good anymore, brothers.
Yeah, but I think they've got it in them. Yeah. They just don't care.
They never were good.
Going through the motions, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just paycheck merchants, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong with being paycheck merchants, but it's sad to see in it. You know what I mean? I personally, I slightly disagree with you there. I like the Bullet Club at the minute. I just think it's criminal that Gabe Kidd isn't the leader.
You took the words out of my mouth, Mike, because it's not my favourite rendition of the Bullet Club, but I don't hate the War Dogs. I think, being a Brit, I think I've got a bit of a fondness for what he's doing, and I'm looking forward to his eventual showdown with MJF, which is a story for another day.
That's going to be class.
I'm guessing you saw the promo because that was fucking sick.
Yeah.
But no, I think he is the more natural leader than Finlay. Finlay just doesn't do it for me. And it's not a discredit to his talent, but it's just, it is Gabe is the more natural leader. But yeah, I don't hate it either. I think, but you're right, they're not the force that they once were under the leadership of Finn and Kenny and Jay and AJ.
One thing I will add quickly, just slightly off topic, just while it's here. Brett will probably know this better than most Americans, having spent so much time around us. But Gabe Kidd is more of a actually British person gimmick than William Regal. All them like snooty, like posh British gimmicks. Gabe Kidd is more authentically actual British than any other gimmick. Loud
being
jab,
in Japan, he can just say whatever the hell he wants. He can just do whatever he wants.
Cuts promos like he said half an ounce of white. Yeah, no, Will as well, but I'd say Gabe Kidd more. Gabe Kidd cuts promos like he's had half an ounce of white.
Yeah, that's it.
Gabe Kidd's promo style is basically
probably has had half an ounce of white. Wait, does it?
He's basically just an audible little scally, and that's what he is.
Yeah, we love him for it.
Little mouthy.
Imagine him and Driller on the nightlife in downtown Tokyo just would be the most insufferable fuckers ever.
I bet you he sounds outside of it all. He's probably quite.
No, I know. I reckon he is actually quite a decent bloke. In all honesty, if you're listening to this, Gabe, we're a big fan. We love you.
Yeah, come get on the pod with us, Gabe. We'll have a laugh.
Come and say, "Are you mad?" to me and call me a pussyhole.
What about you, Sam? What's yours, man?
Yeah, well, I think it ties into the news quite recently, but we know that I think it's a given at this point that Lashley is leaving for one reason or another. But that aside, I don't think he'd be a good fit in AEW. I'm going to be totally honest with you here, but he has the star power, and I think you can argue that Tony can only other promoters that can actually pay him what you could argue he's worth. But I just don't really give a shit about Lashley in 2024, if I'm honest. And it's not a knock on him. I was never really a big fan of the guy. I think he's just doesn't sort of do it for me. But he's obviously been a guy in TNA before. But him in Japan, I think that they need those top gaijin. They need someone like wrestle the style of like the Henares, the Jeff Cobbs, those kinds of people. And I think Lashley Gato actually, pulled his finger out and started booking, the promotion a bit better. And Lashley would be a good steal for them. And MVP. MVP is a former IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So he's clearly knows that scene, but whether that comes to fruition or not, I don't know. But I don't want to see Lashley or the Hurt Business really in AEW because it's just too crowded as well, which is another thing. Yeah.
That's a good one, that, for both reasons. It is a good fit, and also I don't want to see him in AEW. So
I'd be interested to see if he did come into AEW. I'd be interested to see if he come over knowing that he'd have to change his style and work the AEW style, or whether he'd come over and try and have WWE matches in AEW as some of the accused Mercedes doing.
Yeah, like if you're going to do a monthly appearance in AEW, do it on like a handshake deal. Don't do it like a full-time deal. I'm okay with it being like a couple of matches to pop a rating for Dynamite or to sell a pay-per-view or something, but I don't really want to see Lashley week in, week out.
Nah.
He might even go back to MMA. He kind of, he's a good fit for that as well. He's a bit of a draw for Bellator, wasn't he? But yeah, that's just my opinion. Some may disagree. If you do, give me a follow on Twitter and tell me I'm wrong.
For me, and you can follow me and tell me I'm right if you want on this, because I am, and it's a very easy one. I'd like AJ Styles to go back to TNA. I think at the moment TNA are being shafted by this fucking so-called partnership. WWE getting everything that's good about TNA, and TNA are getting people that they found in the parking lot. I'd love to see them just go, all right, here you go. Is AJ. He's one of the TNA legends, one of the best of all time for TNA.
There is no chance in hell WWE let any of the stars go to TNA.
I agree. I don't think they will, but that's the one I would like to see, because I think that would really help TNA. It would be good to see them actually get some benefit from this partnership, because clearly they're getting nothing at the moment. They're losing Joe Hendry, they're losing Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is already talking about WrestleMania matches. Like she's a fucking TNA contract, but she's talking about dream WrestleMania matches already.
It's literally the developmental.
Yeah, Joe Hendry is virtually gone anyway now. From the looks of it, WWE have got him plastered all over everything. And what have they got in exchange? A couple of people that nobody's ever heard of, to the point where when you see them turn up, there's zero reaction from the crowd. So just do them a favour and just give them fucking AJ Styles. So he probably wants to go. He'd probably love that.
The thing is, they let him do the Noah show with Marufuji, which I haven't seen yet, but by all accounts,
it's good.
AJ still hasn't lost it. Like he's still.
No, it's very good.
He's one of the most like agile wrestlers that can fit almost any style, like we talked about last week with MJF. But yeah, I would agree. I think getting his swan song moment in TNA, being that he's a guy now, if you like, been with the WWE nearly 8 years, maybe over 8 years. He's loyal to them. But I think if he's going to go anywhere, it's going to be TNA. I can't, as much as I would like to see him wrestle a match with Kenny, wrestle a match with Jay, and all these other really talented people, Ospreay, all these other really talented people. TNA is the place that he built, if you like, the house that he actually built.
I think, like we said last week as well, like Kurt Angle was Mr. TNA for me, because during its kind of tough period, he was like literally putting his body on the line and putting on incredible matches every week against everybody. But as we all said at the time when I said this, there's four or five that you would say are TNA legends, and they're the ones that stopped TNA from going under during that time and kept a big reason as to why TNA is still a thing at the moment. Albeit. No, it is TNA again. I was going to say, albeit Impact. You'd have your Sting, your Kurt Angle, your Samoa Joe, and then AJ Styles is one of the key names in that. And if he could, just for him to go back, I think it'd be great, and I think it would really help TNA, because I do worry that TNA are going to go under at some point or get turned into a tab on the network.
TNA is the damn. TNA is the damn cockroach of the wrestling industry. Let's be honest. Like, how long have we been saying that that TNA is like on the doorstep of like going out of business, like for the better part of a decade now? But for whatever reason, they just always survive. Like cockroaches, they could pretty much survive like nuclear attacks, right? And just keep living on like that. Yeah, that fits TNA to a T. Like, no matter what, how many TV deals fall through, how many stations they change, and how many times they change ownership, they just keep on surviving, man. I think they're just, for whatever reason, the universe just wants them to stay around.
It just feels a bit different at the moment, because it feels like the vultures are circling because of the fact that their top talent is just being taken by WWE as part of this partnership. They're just like, yeah, we'll have this one, we'll have this one. Don't worry. We've got some people for you. You may never have heard of them, but we'll give you them anyway.
Just like everyone else.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know. It doesn't look good. But whatever. Give them AJ Styles and I'll be happy. That's mine.
Right, I've got one for you. When you think of TNA, who do you think of?
AJ. That's me, AJ.
Sting.
Yeah, Angle for me, but yeah.
Mine's Aces and Eights.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're serious or not.
I am being serious. Like this.
Oh, right.
I remember being like 11, 12 or something. I can't even remember what channel it was on. Just turning on wrestling.
He used to be on Bravo, or he used to be on Channel TV, Challenge TV rather. I think it was.
Yeah, and just watching Aces and Eights.
What about? Did you not think of Eric Bischoff playing the guitar in the ring?
I just think of Bully Ray being a cunt.
That's just every day, though, isn't it? Yeah.
No, I remember the first TNA match I watched was a triple threat between AJ, Low Key, Jerry Lynn. I was hooked. It was such a breath of fresh air to the shite that was being put out on the WWE at that time. I think this must have been about 2006, 2007 or something, but maybe before. It was probably one of those. There used to be. There was a show. There was a channel on Sky called the Wrestling Channel, PWC, and they used to just show classic matches. But then I saw a TNA match on there one time, and it got me hooked. So I was a diehard TNA fan for about 4 or 5 years before Hogan and Bischoff sort of sat all over it, figuratively. Since then they've just never been able to shake their reputation. It's just done them no favors, and I think it's cursed them. They've always had this reputation, as said, of just being close to the death knoll. Networks don't want anything to do with them after a few years. So if AEW's dying, you look at TNA and look at their history, and you're making yourself look like an ass when you're saying AEW's dying. TNA's still around, so come on.
The thing is, if the WWE were listening to this, they wouldn't take it as, yeah, that's a good one, we'll give them AJ. They'd take it as, yeah, we will not give them AJ because there'd be a quicker chance of them dying. We can scoop that tape library up.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's yours, Brett?
You know what? Since it's more so because he's not doing anything in WWE since being called up from NXT, send Ilya to New Japan. Give me Dragunov and throw Dragunov in the damn G1 climax. I mean, come on, just him versus anyone. He's not gonna miss against anyone. Like I was gonna say Gunther, but just more so like I don't think anyone ever no-sold like Gunther or Walter's chops before. Like I'm trying to think, like imagine him and Ishii, and Ishii just eats one of those chops like nothing, and the expression on Gunther's face would be like just like what the yeah.
I remember because there's probably been some PWG matches or WXW matches where someone has tried to no-sell Walter chops.
I hope if someone did no-sell them, that someone wrote an essay on how they can't sell.
Yeah, man. But yeah, just throw Ilya. Yeah, throw Ilya in the G1. I mean, just him versus Ishii, him versus Gabe. Gabe Kidd should be fun. Like, oh my god, freaking Shota, absolutely. I mean,
he'd kill Shota.
Yeah, it'll be fun though.
To die.
The thing is, you say that, Brett, and I agree. He would be great in Japan, but he's one of the few that I would love to have see in AEW just purely for the dream matches. Danielson, Samoa Joe, Claudio, you got Moxley, Shibata.
Oh no, yeah, but
I was thinking there's more in AEW, but yeah, you're right. In Japan, there's loads.
Well, I'm saying like we decide like not to go to AEW, like but anywhere outside of AEW. But no, if it was like open to everything, then no, obviously Ilya to AEW would work out fine. Like, and that's where you do a trade. Like, send Ricky Starks to NXT because that's where he's gonna start in NXT, and then just give us Ilya, and then just fuck around.
Take Danhausen as well, and we'll give us Gunther.
If you lads were agents and you were negotiating those kind of deals, you would be the best agents in the world. That is a fucking unbalanced trade and a half. That.
Like they would not accept that level of trade in like Madden. Like no, they will laugh at you. But oh man, just night one, like just Ilya versus Kyle O'Reilly, just to give him a taste.
That'd be a cracker.
Oh
yeah.
Imagine that.
And you know what? Just real quick. Like for me, the match like for Ilya in AEW, just Ilya and Mark Briscoe, I think would be awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one. Ilya, and looking at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view the other night, Ilya versus anybody on that roster would just tear the house down.
Yeah, Ilya Dragunov is too good for WWE. If I'm being honest, in terms of work rate, his work rate is too high for WWE.
That's it.
Yeah, we'll do 3 just to get this dickhead out the way. I'm not even going to say that. How many boiled eggs do you reckon you can fit in your mouth? I'll go with 1.
I reckon I could probably fit 3. It depends how some boiled eggs are different sizes, aren't they? I reckon I could fit 3 easily.
I probably reckon 2.
Yeah, 2. If that helps you sleep at night, MJL17.
Yeah, cheers for the question, man. What about you, Brett? You're the lone survivor in the boiled egg conundrum.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, back to the serious questions. Camiora MK says, any upcoming matches that you're really looking forward to?
Oh yeah, I mean, look at All In. Mariah, Tony, Swerve Danielson. Yeah,
fucking loads. Too many to mention. I'll just MJF Osprey. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, just a spoiler alert, everyone on the podcast this week's going to All In. We'll probably do a meet and greet beforehand. So yeah, we're not
going to sign Ethan Page t-shirts. We're not going to sign Ethan Page t-shirts.
You can buy us a pint if you want, like.
Yeah. Buy me a coffee, buy me a pint.
I
don't drink pints, so just buy me a vodka orange. Cheers.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a pint over that JD cunt if he's around. I'm also probably throw a fist over as well.
He was at do you know we went to that green fucking pub last year? I don't know if he was there, but he was there.
Was he there? Was he? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was there last year. Yep.
Okay, now throw
he was in there last year.
Way.
Yeah, I wanted to have a conversation with him, but my partner prevented me from doing so.
He's a fucking prick.
He was the biggest AEW cocksucker, and then he realised he could make more money being a cunt towards AEW, so he did.
There's loads of them who are pricks, though. I'd love to get more fucking digs, but then you realise that they're probably sad little cunts who've got no fucking life, never go outside, and you start to feel sorry for them.
That's why Dave Meltzer's a goat.
Yeah, at least Meltzer turns up.
Yeah. I start to feel sorry for them, but then I'm like, no, fuck them. You know, I'm tired of like people saying like they need to go outside and touch grass. No, they need to stay indoors, away from us normally adjusted human beings. Like stay away from me. Stay away from my girlfriend. Everyone like, no, stay home. That's it. And organize your
doing the world a favor. Yeah, you're doing the world a favor by staying indoors in your mum's basement.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Half of them are sat in the Mars box room, wanking into a sock all fucking day. Not like they're going to do anything else.
Sex offender vibes.
Yeah.
Right, getting us back on track. I'm more the most exciting match I'm excited for would be Osprey MJF. I just can't wait to see that in person.
Yeah.
Seeing it in Wembley is going to be great.
I'll throw another one in there at random because we're all just saying Osprey MJF, so I'll change mine. I'm looking forward to the legendary CMLL wrestler returning to face Mystico. So I cannot wait for Jericho Mystico. It's going to be class.
Good one.
I'm going to throw a curveball in there as well. Just announced today on the UK independent scene, MJF is going to face Michael Oku at Rev Pro, and that's going to be fucking unbelievable. If you get the chance, Rev Pro on demand, get on that. August 11th.
I'd love to go to that. Just I don't think I'll be able to work it. Like.
I'll throw in a different answer. I'm gonna go with Mercedes and Britt. Not so much for the match itself.
The story.
It's for what I think. The story, but also what's gonna happen after the match. Because I think Mercedes is gonna win that match. Mercedes needs to win that match, and she's gonna be celebrating in the ring with Camille, and then boom, Jamie Hayter's music hits, and she comes back at Wembley. And we get Jamie Hayter to take out Camille. We get that little stare down between her and Mercedes, and that match right there needs to main event a pay-per-view before the year is over.
100%.
Full gear. It'll be full gear. That's the main event for me.
As we were saying,
and that's in Jersey, and I will be there live.
Oh, even more for you now, Brett, because I want you to see that.
Yeah.
As we were saying last week and earlier, that is the dream match in the women's division. So I cannot fucking wait for that. That's going to be incredible.
And the eventual, I don't know how long away from being materializing, but the eventual showdown between Britt and Jamie, I think that could be really good. If we look at how the women's division has played out, I know we've harped on about this like in the last couple of weeks, but the women's division storytelling is light years ahead of what it was before. But you imagine what Britt and Jamie can do in a program together when one turns on the other. You think that you could create 6 months worth of incredible stories out of that, and they really sort of take their characters up to the next level.
They teased it for so long, and then they had to kind of backpedal because
I think Jamie got too popular, didn't she? She was getting bigger reactions.
Well, it was that, but if you remember, also it was because they were both heels, and then the crowd started turning on Saraya. So in the end, you had to like pivot a little bit and turn them both into good, like into faces. And because there was that whole thing where did she pull her out the ring from memory? I can't remember, and stop her from winning. And then she was like, "Oh shit, sorry, it was instinctive. I didn't mean to." And then she helped her win the title then after that. But it will be good. But as we said, it's stacked at the moment. There's so much going on with that division.
No, I think it's they're gearing up for Hater to return it all in.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was Brett's what he's really looking forward to there. The return at the end. I feel like he's bang on with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say either the end of the Mercedes Britt match, or let's say if they decided to do a women's casino gauntlet match, like winner gets the number one contender,
and she's last one to come out.
Oh yeah, that'd be
amazing.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Yeah. The thing is as well, it feels like a cheat doing that casino gauntlet on like the 0 hour. I want Jamie to return to a foul Wembley.
I think if they was going to do that, I think they do it on the main card though.
Yeah,
because it'd be a waste. You do the men's whatever the fucking bollocks they do for the men's casino gauntlet, whatever the fuck they do on the 0 hour, because it's not going to be a good return, is it? But I think you do the women's on the main card because Jamie Hayter's pop and the stadium will be fucking bouncing.
The problem, the only worry I have with not worry, but the only kind of problem you would have as the booker is like how soon do you have her versus Mercedes? Because realistically, that should not only be main event as you were saying, but that should be for the world title. So do you wait a year, 18 months before they eventually face off and tease it, or do you just go bang into it for the TBS?
I go full gear, because think about it, from the moment like All In happens, that'll be almost 3 months until Full Gear, because it's in November. And here's the thing with AEW's women's division, because remember, me personally, I add in Ring of Honor's women's division like all together. Like they have so much damn talent that you could do Mercedes versus Jamie, and then you have so much other talent, top tier talent that you could build stories with going on like for months and months and months. Like, so you're not like wasting the match having it like 2-3 months after All In, because you're gonna have the eventual Athena call up down the line, and
which is gonna be recent as well.
Yeah,
because I think Billy's gonna turn on her soon.
Yeah, they teased it.
Yes.
Well, it is.
The last final battle, 2023, was Athena Billy in the main event. So that was the first women's main event.
Sorry, while we're on this, we might as well answer the question we have regarding this, because we're talking about it anyway. Which from Tricky, it's Trick1042 on Twitter, who basically just says who should be the next 3 AEW Women's World Champions. We'll just reel off quite quick, can't we?
Mariah, Hayter, Mercedes.
Yeah, similarly, I think Mariah's the next champion, and then I'd like to see. I think Mercedes will win it after her. You give it to Jamie Hayter again, because her reign was cut short.
Yeah,
she was really finding her groove, and then she was banged up, and then fair play to her for going through with that match to drop it to Tony. So I guess you could say in kayfabe she never technically lost it, but she lost it all legitimately, but it feels a bit undeserved. So I think she is due title reign number 2.
But you could also bring her back by having her come out at the end of the world title match, and I didn't lose this being 100% fit. I lost this by being a fighting champion, and I deserve my rematch.
Have you been playing Valorant, mate?
No.
because that's exactly more or less what Brett said before.
Oh, my bad.
No, I was gonna say.
I just agree with Brett. I just agree with what Brett's been saying, and I'm reiterating it so the listeners know that this should happen. Me and Brett are one mind.
One mind. But I was gonna say, like, with Hater though, I'm not gonna factor into the women's championship, because the story, the better story is her going after the TBS title just because of the inclusion of Britt, with Mercedes. So my next 3 women's champions for the women's world title, I'm gonna say Mariah, Willow, Athena.
I like that.
Very nice. Very nice. I do agree.
Yeah.
Willow is a future champion, but she's still very young. She's still got a whole career ahead of her. So yeah, I think she'll be a champion eventually, but maybe after they've done what I said.
And if you look at the order that I chose, like Mariah heel, Willow the face takes the title off her, then Athena heel takes it off her, and guess what? Athena, winning the women's title. Who knows how much longer Billy will be in Ring of Honor? You could run back that feud on AEW television whenever Billy gets called up in whether it's a year or 2 for now. But there's no rush, because she's only 19 years old.
Yeah, she's ridiculously young and so talented. Like putting workers twice her age to shame.
Billy sounds unbelievable.
I would go with obviously Mariah, but then I would then, I don't know if this is kind of fits with what I'm saying, but I would go Tony. I would have Tony win it back, because I think the story there for Tony to then have to kind of change his style up, because Mariah's learned everything that she knows. She's taught her everything. It's got that Rocky feel to it, so I'll go Mariah. I would go Tony again. But then I'd have Mercedes. I just think you've got to get that world title on Mercedes at some point in the next 12 to 18 months. So that would be mine. I would have Mariah, back to Tony, Mercedes, and then that's when I would tee up the big. I would tease a lot, but I would tee up the big Jamie Hayter win then at that point.
You'd also run back Willow there as well.
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna go slightly different than you guys. I'm gonna go Mariah, Willow, Statlander.
Ooh.
It's that song, yeah.
That's the song. That's the thing. There's so much talent you can pick. It's hard to predict, but you can.
You wouldn't have said this 18 months ago.
It's a great choice.
Yeah.
You look at that fatal 4-way that we had last year, All In, and the gripe around that and the qualifications, and she was the champion. Why is she having a qualification match? To this year, like, we basically just had 4 different answers to the next league champions.
And not one of us said Saraya. Thank fuck.
Yeah, not one of us said Saraya.
No.
Although I am gonna again be slightly controversial. Anna Jay's going over to Stardom, doing a stint over there.
Yeah.
If that goes well, when she comes back,
she strap
maybe
everything
we see
to
Anna Jay. If she's improved the work rate, she's got the look. She's got the look. If she's improved the work rate that bit more, she could be in that conversation, maybe for the TBS at first. But while we're talking,
we also missed out on Julia Hart.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Wow,
too much. Sky Blue even as well. Yeah.
I think Sky Blue needs a TBS first, but Julia Hart, when she comes back, you could strap that title to her. She was so fucking good.
And the wild card as well, Rhea Ripley, when Buddy Matthews does the Lord's work and gets her out of the hands of the Weinsteins in a few years when a contract's up. It's a long-term play. It's safety. It's just about safety. That's all.
I was going to say
as long as she doesn't do any sort of turnbuckle sort of dive shoulder tackles from the ring apron to the outside, she's fine.
I was going to say, you talk about Ripley. I got a legit one in the future that I wouldn't be shocked comes over to AEW when her contract runs up. Shit, don't be surprised Bayley makes the jump.
Oh, I'd agree.
Nope.
I think there's a very high chance she does because of Mercedes.
Listen, from the moment she won her Royal Rumble match, WWE has given zero fucks about pushing her Mania match, pushing her world title reign. She's a complete fucking
It's been
afterthought.
grim. It's been grim, hasn't it? It's like it's a non-event. It's like, oh shit, is she even still a champ? Like, like we'll just fit her on the card somewhere, give her something.
You look at the SummerSlams this week, and you think the two women's matches on the SummerSlam card, and you look at the two women's matches on the All In card. What the fuck is so poor in comparison?
Like, I know, it's mad, isn't it? Like they're putting her in there to get injured. It's insane.
I know, right? You're going to come out with a broken orbital bone.
So who do you think should be the next 3 TBS champions then?
Oh, next 3 TBS.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Let me go first. I'm gonna say, Mercedes will retain. I'm gonna go Hayter. Hikaru Shida.
Mm-hmm.
We got, when Hayter comes back, we got to run back that Hayter and Shida match. Still one of the greatest women's matches I've ever seen. So Hayter, Shida, and the last one, I'm gonna say go back to Julia Hart.
Nice. I'll go Camille beats Mercedes, because Mercedes is going to be a champ for a minute. I would have Sky Blue beat Camille, and potentially Queen Aminata beats.
Oh yeah,
it's a good shout. There, I like that.
I think she, after this stint in Ring of Honor, I think she's going to be right up there as well.
Basically, because obviously my plan would be to have Hayter in the world title scene after it. I would keep it on Mercedes for a while. So I think the first to beat Mercedes should be Camille. I think the quite obvious turn that will eventually happen when someone has a bodyguard. From there, I would go Mariah, heel Mariah, and then we're probably going to be stealing someone here, but I would say Mina, because I just want to see the Mariah Mina feud.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, Mariah Mina. Yeah, but that could happen after she wins the world title. Even the next on the Japan show, even with Wrestle Dynasty.
God, yeah, that's a good one. I probably will. If you think the timing of that'd be a good one.
Yeah, in Japan as well. It seems like it writes itself really. I'll go for mine while I'm on the topic. So obviously Mercedes retains. I think, Camille is, I don't know whether she's the next one to dethrone her, but she's certainly a future TBS. But I think they're going to make a big deal over the first woman to win both titles. So the woman who's been both a world champion and TBS champion, I think that's going to be a big deal. So I think the person who gets that honor is probably going to be Jamie. And then the wild card after that, it's either one of Sky Blue, Deonna, Anna, or Willow. And I think my gut instinct says Deonna, because she's not had a title yet. I don't think she's in. I don't know when she fits in the women's title picture at the moment. So I think the TBS title reign isn't too far away for her.
That's a good one, though.
So I think I'd have Mariah beat Mercedes, Anna Jay come back from it. No, Ty Mello come back, beat Mariah, and then Anna Jay comes back from her excursion. And then you get Ty Mello versus Anna Jay.
That's a good one.
Because they've got history.
There's so many potential options.
It is. It's the division is absolutely stacked, and like we were saying earlier, we wouldn't have said that 18 months ago.
Yeah,
it's a testament to how good the division is. No one mentioned Thunder Rosa.
Not a great fan, to be honest. I don't think she's that good, to be honest. But I know a lot of people do.
She'd be a top star in the Fed.
Probably. I just find her work quite boring, to be honest. But that's probably a me thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hit and miss one. I wasn't. Well, yeah, I prefer her work now than the first reign, and that's probably a bit controversial. But I think the match with Tony at Dynasty, I thought was very good. He got
Mhm.
my opinion was that Thunder Rosa was got a much out of her than Serena and Deonna did. That's just my opinion.
No, I see where you're going with that, but I put a lot of that down to Tony's style being completely different. With a character, she seemed to go for a slower style to fit with more
Yeah,
the
yeah,
character work she was doing, which is why as a just said, I'm looking forward to winning the title back eventually, because I think she's going to have to change her style up and go back to a
yeah,
lot more of a quicker hard hitting style that we know she has from her previous work.
yeah. Well, and yeah, the match with Taya Valkyrie on Battle of the Belts sort of leans into that. Like the character change,
Yeah,
the subtle character change brings a like slightly more aggressive style, and then eventually,
yeah.
yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens at Wembley.
Has anyone done character work as good as her? Like anywhere in any company over the
No.
last 18 months, it's
No,
off the charts, isn't it?
it's unreal,
Crazy. A
unreal.
promo last night after the Taya Valkyrie match
Yeah,
was fucking fantastic.
yeah. You should have ripped my head off. It's nuts.
I know you put like a lot of credit goes to RJ City because the man's a genius, but she's still got to deliver, and the delivery is unreal. And when she's doing the press conferences and stuff, which is obviously not stuff that they planned out, it's stuff that she's kind of coming up with on the fly. It's great. It's absolutely incredible. I heard her do one of Jericho's podcasts. She did an interview with him on that, and she was in character for the entire thing, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, you're very good at it. But talking of women's division, Andy, there was someone who was engaging with you about a potential new addition to the roster. So did you want
Yeah,
to sort of reference that?
yeah, that's right. It was Andy Blue. He's a good lad on Twitter there. Andy Blue is his Twitter. But yeah, no, he's a good lad, and he's quite a balanced fella. But he was adamant that he feels that Becky Lynch would be a big draw for AEW if she went there, and that he thinks that it might happen. Thinks Tony might put up the money because she would be a ratings mover. I disagree. I don't. But be interested to see what you guys think. I did say we'd probably have a discussion about this.
As we sort of said before we started recording the pod, I think AEW are past the point of individual wrestlers being the draw, or being the fix of the issue. It's more a PR problem at this point, partially down to attacks from WWE, but partially due to lacking or mistakes made by AEW themselves. Like they don't promote shows properly, week to week. And I think that's the sort of stuff that they need to fix more than, signing Becky or signing whoever from WWE.
Similar to what I was saying, to be honest, I don't think she would make a difference. Because if you look through the big signings that they've had, Punk didn't make a difference. The ratings remain quite similar when he first signed, and Mercedes didn't really get a bump in ratings either. I don't think any wrestler will at the moment. I think Dave Meltzer talked about this when he suggested that outside of The Rock or someone like Taylor Swift, a single person isn't going to make people tune into a TV show with enough to make a dent in the ratings with the way the cable landscape is at the moment. It just doesn't happen. And I don't think she would make any change in that. I think that it would just be more of the same. I think it would be a waste of money considering the fact that the division is stacked right now. And unfortunately, if it did happen, you'd just see, women who've been working their asses off be shunted down the card to make way. And we'd end up just getting a rehash of Becky, against Mercedes, which, that would bring with it the bad PR with it. On the flip side, that it would deserve really as just being a copy of a WWE, angle or matchup.
I do agree with what Andy was saying. Andy Blue, this is, and where he said about how she'd be a focal point. She would be a focal point if she were signed because that's just who she is. She does carry a bit of a, a little bit more of and I hate using the word, but aura, if you want to call it that, then a lot of the women, from casual viewers who, let's face it, don't really know who half the people on the AEW roster are, because they don't really follow the indies or they don't really follow Japan or whatever. So yeah, Becky would be a focal point of the show, but I don't think that's necessarily what AEW needs right now. They're spending a great deal of time rebuilding the perception of the women's division, and they're doing a cracking job of it. And I think the longer that continues, they're going to give more women the spotlight.
But
yeah, to me, it just seems Becky just does. I don't know where she fits. You seem like you'd almost need one or the other of either Mercedes or Becky, and you could pick and choose which one you pick. But I think Mercedes was the better choice personally.
Oh, I agree. I think she's the better in ring. But like you talk about aura, but do you think she has more of an aura than Mariah May or Toni Storm or
no, because
Britt
of the way
Baker
the stories have been built. No, I don't.
that was why. Yeah, but
she's more wide known. That's the issue. She's more wide known. People recognize her face more than anyone else. And if you have recognizable faces on your product, people may watch. It's proven that they don't, but this next one could be it does. But I also think the issue is the network itself.
Yeah, no.
If they was on a different network, they'd get a lot more fucking viewers. And if their shit was actually on their own social media platform built just for AEW, such as is it Max? If it was on something like that, they'd obviously get more viewers. But I just think it's hard to watch AEW.
Yeah,
even though it is on a bigger channel, it's harder to watch because it's not on a channel like ESPN. Or
it doesn't have the range that the other channels have. I mean, if you look at TNT's, I mean, I don't want to go back to the TV ratings thing, but if you do look at TNT's viewing figures as a whole, they're roughly, their top programs roughly get the same figures anyway.
Because Warner Bros is dying. Everything they've got is dead. It's dying. It's a slow death, but it is dying. TV is dying.
Year on year, the cable subscribers are down, and Meltzer's gone into this, to death really, and the fact that like the drop in AEW's viewing figures is actually slightly above, on the curve of the drop in cable subscribers. So they're kind of keeping their head above that drop, but it is happening. It is happening. They need to move. Whatever this next deal does, it has to include Max or whatever streaming platform they have.
The drop in cable viewership is indicative of a huge shift in how people consume content. Nobody is sitting in front of a TV. It's like we were saying at the beginning of the podcast. Like no one is sitting in front of a TV for 2 hours every Wednesday, Tuesday night. People maybe watch a bit of it and then come back to it the next day, or they sort of flip between channels. It's just the way it is.
It's literally like me, because I've not watched any wrestling content in about 3 weeks, and then I will just watch it all in one go, all on Fight.
Yeah.
But like, I think WWE is so ahead of the curve with this, with getting the Netflix deal. They're gonna get so much from that, because it's gonna be in so many more people's eyes. Just by being on Netflix, just by being there, having its own section on Netflix, it's going to get so many more eyes.
It'll be interesting to see how it does, because it probably will. But I've also seen the counter arguments that brought up that it's going to have so much competition. If people are putting on Netflix, they see WWE, but then they see the latest TV series or a movie that pops up. I mean, like we all do that with everything on Netflix. You'll kind of go to watch something, and you're like a dog with a shiny object. You're like, oh, what's this?
But the thing with Netflix is,
because you spent like an hour picking what you want to watch, and then you start resorting to something that you've already seen.
But like with Netflix, you can just come back and watch it.
What I mean though is, like, I often find myself like kind of like you were saying, Blake, at the moment with AEW, I'll find myself kind of 4 or 5 episodes behind on a TV show I love, just because I'd forgotten about it because I start watching something else. I'd be interested to see if people do that with Raw, but treat it more as a TV series instead of a kind of live show, and they just go, oh well, I'll just catch up on that over the next few weeks, rather than tuning into it every week to kind of keep up.
Good for them in terms of like the revenue that they get and the exclusivity. The show's 3 hours long. That's a long time. Are you really going to sit and watch?
I wonder if
that's the thing with Netflix is though. You can watch an hour of it and then fuck it off, and then come back another day and watch an hour of it.
Yeah.
And the other hour. I think that makes it better, I guess, because you're not having to sit through 3 hours of shit.
It'd be interesting to see if they do cut it back to 2 hours again now, because most people seem to prefer 2 hours over 3. And with it not being a demand from a TV network and it just being content for Netflix, whether Netflix will want that 3 hours or whether they'll be happy with, because TV shows on Netflix can be whatever time they want. The episode 1 of the show can be 40
Can't
minutes.
wait.
Yeah, but it could be. It could have a Raw that ends up over 3 hours, but you could have a Raw that finishes on 2 or 10 minutes or something. 1 week and there's no time limit they have to stick to now, so it could work. It actually could work out really good for them in that way.
Be the first show on Netflix where it says, "Are you still watching Raw?" while you're live watching it.
I wonder how it's going to work though, because they are going to make it live, and I don't think they've ever done that before.
No, but they're trying to, aren't they? They got the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah, but I feel like that was meant to be a tester for the actual big Raw deal, and then it got cancelled. So you might have a lot of technical difficulties the first time they do it.
The more interesting
there'll
thing
be teething issues for sure. There will be teething.
There's 8 in between because they don't have a TV deal from fucking November to January. Or is it October or something? The TV deal ends then, and the Netflix deal doesn't start till January. And there's been no sign of Netflix wanting to, pick it up earlier. So where the fuck are they going to put Raw? They're just not going to have a home for 3 months, 2 months.
I think I thought I heard them say that they were going to stay on USA for the rest of the year. I thought I read something about that for those couple of months.
Maybe that's a new thing I've missed then, but I just remember USA a couple of months ago was saying that they had no desire to negotiate to keep it. But maybe they've come to an agreement now or something, I don't know.
Yeah, just to finish off the pod, we're going to do a quick rundown of Blood and Guts. If your question wasn't answered, we're really sorry. Just keep getting them into the Twitter, and we will answer. We will get to you eventually. Blood and Guts, boys. I think the easiest way to do it, who was everyone's MVP? I think we're agreed it was probably Anthony Bones.
Max Caster, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
No, it's Okada. Okada's the MVP. He worked the smartest in that match. Everyone taking thumbtacks, going through tables, taking unprotected chair shots. My man just said, "Fuck all of that bullshit. The worst I'll do, I'll take a stapler. I'll take one staple to the middle finger, and I'm gonna call it a day."
I don't know if he's noticed this. He accidentally got a thumbtack in his back or something. My partner pointed it out to me. After one of the thumbtack spots, he accidentally had one thumbtack in him, and that was it. So one thumbtack and a staple, and that's all he did for the match.
Yeah,
work smart, not hard.
My MVP was Jeff. No, it wasn't really Jeff. I love Jeff though. He's brilliant at the moment. It was Jack Perry for taking a chair shot that could have killed him. Apparently,
I know. Poor Corey Graves.
He was brilliant, Jack Perry, but the whole way it was great. It really did exceed the quite low expectations I had with the shit build coming into it, and with the Acclaim just not fitting. It didn't fit with the feel. With it not being the end of a blood feud like it should be. But with my expectations being quite low, I was actually really, really impressed. It was a hell of a match. It was class, and Perry. I can't even pick one actually because Mark Briscoe as well was phenomenal. I feel
I'm struggling
it's hard
to pick
single
one.
out.
I'm struggling to pick one as well. It's there's two. Yeah, everyone played their part.
I know you.
I
know you lads are a bit down on Caster when we were talking before, but I haven't watched it back. He did a hell of a lot as well, to be honest. He actually I was expecting him to rap when he come in, and I was like, no, don't. So as soon as he did as soon as he did the thud, the thud shot with the mic, I love one of them. Just sounds great. As soon as he did that, I was like, here we go, get straight into it. He gets his chain, starts using his chain. That was good, but they all performed. They all stood up, and it was great.
Yeah, I think you talked about it being Blood and Guts being a typical blood feud ender, Andy, but I think this one felt a bit different.
Yeah,
it wasn't that because there's clearly more to the story with the Elite and everybody else. But really, the talking point for me was when Swerve made his entrance. Well, Hangman didn't make his entrance. Swerve entered, then Hangman starts just beating the shit out of him. That to me was when I was like, it was my favorite Blood and Guts. Maybe it's recency bias, but it was my favorite out of all of them, which is a lot from me considering one of them had Ibushi in it. So it takes a lot for me to say that. So my MVP, when Swerve did his thing with the stapler after being handcuffed, that was my favorite moment of the match. It was just so slick. The dude is so good. He is unreal.
He's a heel, though. He's a heel. I
love how the baby faces and heels are still not forgiving him for what a twat he's been. I love this sort of nuances to the story.
I was
he's
so
still
excited
just getting insane reactions and just doing all this incredible shit in the ring.
Well, when Hangman didn't come out, I was so excited because I'd convinced myself that they were finally going to give me what I want, which is Swerve as a fucking heel because he threatened a baby after a home invasion. And everyone seems to not care because his manager does a funny little dance. But so I was so excited thinking, Hangman's not come. What if Swerve comes out and he's with the Elite? What if there's a bag of cash, a big box of cash in those boxes? And I'd convinced myself that was happening. And I was waiting for Hangman to come and make the save. And then he come and ruined it by attacking Swerve, and Swerve still.
It was one of them. It was when Hangman didn't hit it, I was questioning. I don't know what's going to happen. It was unpredictable, and that's what Blood and Guts has been missing the past few times. Yeah. It's very you're still blown away because the match is always invariably good. AEW always delivers in these huge match situations and everything. But when this time around, when Hangman didn't turn up, I was actually thinking, what route is this match going to take? I was questioning. No, that for me. So I think Swerve just wins it for me, just on that basis alone.
It wasn't my favorite, but it was excellent. My favorite still is the first one, Jericho versus MJF. But
it was a good one.
They've all been good, haven't they? But it was very good, and it exceeded my low expectations.
Listen, for me personally, what the match did for me was what I knew it was going to do. It laid the groundwork for Swerve and Hangman to re-engage their feud after All In. They weren't going to have a lot of confrontation between. It was literally only a minute or two. First off, when they did the slow walk to the middle of the two rings, that was it. They just needed that minute or two, and that's all you needed. Now we're all gonna sit and wait for when they re-engage, and it's gonna be worth waiting, whether it's a few weeks, a couple of months, but it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah, more of the same.
What do you lads think is going to happen then now going forward with Swerve Danielson? As we get to All In, do you think they're going to embrace Swerve as the heel that he actually is? Because again, he broke into a family's home and threatened the baby. Or do you think he's still going to pretend to be a good guy because Nana does a funny dance?
I think he's essentially going to gaslight the crowd. He's going to sort of say, "Look, this is my house." In his mind, he's done nothing wrong. And in Hangman's mind, he's done nothing wrong. So there's going to be undefined kind of roles in that. So I think the match with Danielson will go ahead. Swerve will try and basically murder the guy. He'll try and rip his neck off or something like that. But that's going to be the story leading up to it. And then Hangman splits off, and then they come back to it somehow. There's something that brings them back together when they say, "No, do you know what? You will not be champion. One of us is going to have to die," basically.
I feel like we need Swerve, though, to embrace the fact that he's a heel, because I don't want another face main event for All In. I feel like we need it defined, a heel versus a face.
Bob, if Danielson doesn't, Danielson will be the crowd favorite going in, especially if they play the final countdown, and then Swerve just tries to kill him, and then that's when the crowd starts booing, and then his more twisted side starts showing, and then that's when we start to see this more, the chapter of the story almost.
I think he needs to start dropping that in as we get closer, though, over the next few Dynamites, dropping a bit more of his heelish tendencies. They've never gone away; they're still there.
Sorry for the abrupt ending to the episode, guys. Couple of technical difficulties. We'll see you next week, and hope you enjoyed the show.